How's it going, everybody? It is June 22nd. This is actually going to be a different kind of a video. I'm going to do a Q&A basically, and the reason I'm starting with this screen is just to show off the day so far, which is, and I'm just kidding. This is just to show you guys how quickly things can change, especially after the video that I put out yesterday where I was talking about how the previous week was a lot more active, and then most of my days were double digits, and then it actually dropped down to seven and sevens, fives, and fours, and all that kind of stuff. But then today, as you can see here, we're at 14 just in the U.S. and 16 in total, and I'm recording this halfway through the day. But that's not the purpose of the video. What I wanted to get into was this. I wanted to get into some questions that you guys asked me, and basically, like I said, I really wanted to do a few videos. Actually, my preference when it comes to this is just simply to have discussions with you guys about some of these things that you guys are bringing up, because I feel that if I was to put out videos that are, how to upload a listing to Merge by Amazon, there are 1,000 other people doing the same thing. If I was to talk about, and even I'm hesitant to do some videos about keywords or niches and things like that, because I really truly feel that there are videos out there. I think it would be a waste of both of our times, all of our times, because when it comes to certain pieces of information, I think there's value in getting it from me. When it comes to simple how-tos, there are so many videos out there, and I don't want to do those videos. I don't think it's the best use of our time, because it's a simple how-to. But if we're going to talk about certain things, and especially when it comes to motivation, and there's a couple of questions here that I love. I think somebody asked me, how much time on average do you invest into stuff like this? And it doesn't even matter. Like, for example, we can take this question as kind of like a negative or a positive. It doesn't matter. The question is still very valid. So we're going to go through this not quickly, strategically, and we're going to take our time. So I want to talk about the first one. So this is actually a good one. So this one is from Anthony here. Thanks for the concise and consistent updates. One struggle I have is that designs, their keywords are often trademarked or become trademarked. How do you combat this? So before I get into this, I just want to kind of set the theme here that there are sometimes there are, but sometimes, and I would say most of the time with this kind of stuff, there's no simple answer in this kind of stuff, and especially when it comes to trademarks and keywords. So number one, even coming up with keywords could be a challenge sometimes. It could be simple, but sometimes people don't understand that you could have the same design on the same product. So just to simplify this, for example, if we're talking about a let's say political theme design, and it doesn't matter what political party or anything like that, it really doesn't matter. But let's say you have a political theme design and you use different keywords, different titles, different descriptions, you will get different results. So before we even get to it being trademarked, getting the right keywords is a challenge on its own, because you can play around with certain keywords, and then you'll find that the same design actually is a lot more successful when you use, and just for example, you can use keywords that are a lot more specific. If you use keywords that are broad, you have to realize that there are thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of designs and products with the same or similar keywords. So So that in itself is a bit of a game, a bit of a challenge, a bit of an experiment before you get into trademarks. But with this, if we're talking about keywords being trademarked, uh, that in itself is simple, which is stay away from it. And you can use multiple websites to actually see if something is trademarked. So I would say check it, and if it becomes trademarked after you have listed the product, you don't have much control there, because if you're not actively checking, if part of your process is to actually check if your previous keywords that you've used have become trademarked, that would of course involve a very good system in tracking your keywords, in checking them often. Uh, my personal experience is that I do check keywords often, uh, especially if I'm doing a large number of uploads when it comes to the certain niche or certain category with very similar or the same keywords. But I get caught once in a while making a mistake. Let's say if I don't check, I'll get a bunch of rejections, and it's because I've used a word that I thought was just a normal word, but uh, it is trademarked, and I made that mistake recently. Actually, let me pause this, and I'll find the word that I was talking about. Okay, so two things that I actually uh, recently got rejections for were adulting and backgammon. So backgammon actually is something that surprised me. So it was backgammon and related words, and I got a number of rejections. And to be honest with you, I simply didn't check before I started listing those products. And then once in a while, I actually do get rejections for products that have been live for over a year. And it is because of this reason, because it has become a trademark, or maybe somebody reported my listings and I was not aware of that. So it's hard to combat this. My advice is always be careful, because your merch by Amazon or merch on demand account is way more valuable than some quick money where you think you can use trademark terms and make some sales. So I understand that I've gone on for a pretty long time talking about this, but I think this is actually a very important issue, and and I would really pay attention to that. This was a comment to just no, I'm not using ads, and I've talked about this openly. I've done experiments with ads where I would even put $50 a day on an ad, and just to kind of track success, if it makes any difference or anything like that. So as of right now, I don't run any ads. I do from time to time, just to keep certain ads active, and they're usually like $2 a day, and it's just to gather information on keywords and other products that people were visiting before they get to my page, and that's all the information that you can actually get through the ad statistics as you're running ads. So I use it actually just to gather information sometimes. But am I actively using ads, or are my results, uh, my sales results of running ads? No, I'm not running ads. Things like this, I honestly don't know, guys. Like, I don't know what to do or how to help you when it comes to getting an account, how to get a merch by account. Like, keep in mind, I got mine in 2017 or 2018. It's been about 4 or 5 years. Back then, things were probably different. I had to wait about 6 or 9 months to get it. It's been so long, I've forgotten how long I waited, but I just remember it was a long, long time. This question, so this actually this question stood out to me, uh, and I wanted to. I honestly, I can talk about this for an hour, but let me read the question to you, and I'll tell you where this question came from, and why I liked it so much. Great advice. Here's a question for you. Since you spike about, and I'm assuming this is a term or slang that I'm not familiar with. Since you spike about working hard, how much time on average do you invest a day into the business? Amazing question. I'll tell you guys, because I just love these kinds of conversations. And to me, the kind of like the mindset, the state of mind that you're in is a lot of times a lot more important uh, than the grand ideas than anything else that you do when it comes to running a business. That I love this question. That's why I can talk about it for hours. So let me just kind of set the stage for you guys, and then I'll go into answering this question. And I believe this came from me. Either it was a short or something that I put out, and I was basically saying, uh, my advice is that you have to work hard, and my advice is that you have to work hard, especially when things go the way you didn't expect them to go. Meaning, your sales drop for a number of days in a row, and you're kind of feeling shitty, you're feeling crappy, you don't know what to do exactly. You're starting to ask yourself, is all of this worth it? Because I've put in hours and hours and hours of work, and I've made $4 in royalties today. Is it like, do I want to keep going? And this is, I think, where this question kind of came from. So I'll answer your question, but let me set the stage here. So I do work a full-time job, wife, 2 kids, own a home, number of cars, so pretty much like standard life that you would expect. And then 99% of my videos that I put out on this channel are related to merch by Amazon. And I keep talking about how the number one thing is to work hard. And that this is where the question comes from. So here's the answer to that. In addition to a full-time job, and the reason I have to be safe about this, like my choices are, like if I was single, if I was living alone, if there was nobody relying on me, I could quit my job and I could live without any problems, just using the money from what would be considered kind of like passive income or additional income that I make. And here's the big point. And it's not just merch by Amazon. So now I'm going to get into the answer. How much time do I spend on average? So if we're not talking about my full-time job and spending time with family, every available minute almost is what I spend on my business, if that's what we're considering, and we're considering a business, because the way that I've structured my whole operation is that everything, to a certain extent, is based on print on demand. Like I said, all I talk about on this channel is merch, but I've mentioned this and I talk about this openly. I do have a Shopify store. I have an Etsy store. I have an eBay store. I have an Amazon store that is not merged by Amazon, but it's merged by fulfillment by merchant. This is in addition to the small things, small money that I would make on Redbubble. And when I say small, I literally mean small. It's a couple of bucks a month on Spreadshirt, Redbubble, Zazzle, whatever else you can think of. So that's print on demand. I also am involved in other things that are related to other sources of income that I don't talk about on this channel. And I'm really trying to kind of like streamline it to make it very kind of like almost fluid. When I say that is when I design things and come up with titles and keywords and descriptions and bullet points, they are meant for merch by Amazon. But in using the automation tools that I use, those are the same listings, same design, same titles, same descriptions that I use for eBay, that I use for Etsy, that I use for Shopify, because I'm using certain automation tools that use the same spreadsheet, same information. And again, this is not at all related to any other businesses, sources of income that I have. So, and the reason I don't put 100% of my time into, let's say, merch, is because I've been around merch for long enough that I've realized that it really isn't the smartest or the safest option to put 100% of your time into it. And I understand that this could be a kind of a hard thing for some people to swallow, because we have heard any YouTube channel that you listen to out there, people are going to tell you how amazing this platform is. And listen, you're going to hear the same thing from me. It is amazing. It is amazing. But April 2020, everybody on merch made $0, because this is not your business. This is Amazon's business, and they're using you to make money. That's why, after I've experienced a number of things, after in 2018 or 2019, when people on YouTube convinced me that if I just tier up to tier 1,000 or 10,000, I will be able to quit my job, my full-time job, because I will be making hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. After I realized that that wasn't true, for whatever reason, could be because people wanted more views. It could be because people believed it. It could be because people were doing it. It could be because people were trying to sell something to me and to you. That's why I believed it. But when reality hit, when I realized that, hey, that doesn't happen to everybody, that's when I started to explore other things. That's when I started to invest just as much time into eBay or Etsy or Shopify. Because if another COVID came and Amazon decided to shut down, I still had another source of income. It's very hard to do or to make a kind of like the right decision that isn't in line with what people online are telling you, right? So that's why I love this question, and it's so important, because it does come down to working hard, motivation, and not just, and that's the thing, that it's hard to separate, because on this channel I talk about merch by Amazon, but again, that's not my whole life, and I would never say make it your whole life. I've talked to people who have said, well, I've quit my job, and now that I'm at this tier, tier whatever, 10,000, 20,000, I need to make this kind of money, so it's gonna happen. Well, all the best. I think you can do it if you strategize, if you actually do research, if you work on your keywords, if you work on your advertising, and this is your full-time job. There's no reason not to do that. I'm just saying I have to make strategic decisions, because, like I said, I do have a family, I do have a house, and I can't take as many risks as I could have when I was single and 18, and living on my own. And it didn't matter if I was going to drive a car or ride my bike or take the bus. It just didn't matter. Now things matter. So I mean, this is my life. I work on this any minute that I have, right? But again, I'm going to be one of those now weird guys that's going to tell you about how important it is to also stay sane and to have an active and social lifestyle where you are actually more productive and healthier if you do maintain a social life, meaning like it doesn't have to be family, like immediate family, it could be friends, but you also have to be active, go work out a little bit, exercise, have a drink with your friends, maybe watch a half an hour of a TV show, but again, never lose kind of track of your goals or anything else. Because if you want to do that, if you want to succeed, then you just have to push through, right? So that's why I went on that big rant and talked about how important it is to actually work really hard, especially when things are not going well for a couple of days, because it really is hard to stay motivated, especially if you need motivation from other people. And this is where YouTube can be helpful, but also it could be very toxic, that when you're talking or watching videos and getting advice from people on YouTube who are telling you that, merch is great, sales are great, they're advertising, they're getting into niches, they're using different softwares, they're using AI, and then you're saying, well, my sales have sucked for the last 6 days, and nothing that you do is helping. That's why I'm saying, if you actually believe in what you're doing, then you just have to go forward. But if at any point you're deciding to give up, well, that's a big decision, right? Give some tips rather than showing just the sales graphs. I agree. Over the last couple of years, people have actually been a lot more interested in sales graphs. That's why I do it. But I would love to get into that, even conversations like this. I think because there's, like I said at the beginning, so many how-to videos that maybe even just these kinds of conversations would be helpful. Evergreen and trending shirts. I have maybe chased the trend a couple of times in the last 4 or 5 years. It doesn't work out well for me. So for me, it's not even just the evergreens. It's just getting into niches that are actually that there's not a lot of activity in. And especially even if there is, if I put out a design that actually works, I will scale that up as much as I can. I love location-based design. I love profession-based designs. I love hobby-based designs. So things like that. So for me, I got evergreens, but again, like the kind of like the true or the standard definition of evergreens, everything's out there. So just get into something just a little more specific, just a little more narrow-ish, where even if we're talking about like a niche that is kind of like small and specific, shrink it down a little bit. So even if you put out like 100 or 200 designs out there, and you're getting one sale a day, it's gonna add up. So that's what I'm saying. Just keep working, and honestly, like. It's tough. It's tough to kind of like stay sane, to stay motivated at times. But well, if you were to talk to me, 5 years ago, as somebody who didn't even understand the definition of print on demand, and I've talked about this before. And then, for example, let's say we'll go into this all time, and then. In 4 years or almost 5 years, we're talking about somebody who has sold 16,000 products just on merch by Amazon. And like I said, I have a very successful eBay and other stores. I never would have believed this, right? And again, keep in mind, I'm doing this after I do my job, I do my full-time job, and after I spend time with my family every single day, right? Because those are the two priorities. So again, definitely don't give up and work really hard. And I would love to put out videos like this more often, every day, if that's what you guys want. We can have these conversations because I love them. And then, of course, we can find how-to videos everywhere else. And kind of like gather information that's important. But I think what's super important is actually just kind of stay on track, because you know what? If I was to let's say today, if I didn't do this for the last 5 years, and let's just ignore eBay and everything else. If we're just talking about merch, if I didn't do this every day, 5 years in a row, every day. Now I wouldn't be comfortably making $1,000 in royalties a month. I wouldn't be making $5,000 or $10,000 in sales every month. And the last thing I'll say is, and I've said this before, is people are so willing to spend 4 years going to school, get a degree, and then settle for a job that's like 40, 50, 60,000 a year. They have no problems with that. But they're when they start a business like this, they want to make 100,000, 200,000 the first year with zero experience. To me, that doesn't make sense. You got to put the time in. So I feel like I've just graduated, and there's a lot more to learn when it comes to things specifically. When it comes to things like keywords, when it comes to things like advertising, when it comes to things like niches, research, all that kind of stuff. That's kind of like the post-grad education that you're going to get. But what I've done in the last 4 or 5 years is just simply, received my degree, and now I'm kind of like getting into my entry-level position. And I'm okay with that. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you, guys. It's a long video. I love these ones. Let me know if you like any of this content, and we'll go forward together. Okay, thank you, guys.